Ted, thank you for giving me the opportunity to say a few words about Dan Devine. As I reflect on last year, I'm reminded of a quote that I have on my desk. It says, "We are continually faced by great opportunities, brilliantly disguised as insolvable problems." I am truly convinced that we can overcome any adversity and turn that into a success or a victory if we are committed to make a positive outcome. I want to have each of you sit by my side on 3 benches in 3 locations at 3 different times. The first bench is at Peoria High School, Peoria, Illinois. The high school opens its doors in 1856. I just met the new manager of the Stony Creek yesterday when I checked in. And Brandon and I said, "Where are you from?" He said, "Peoria, Illinois." He said, "Where'd you go to school?" I said, "Peoria High School." He said, "Did you know that Peoria High School has had a veteran in every war since the Civil War?" I said, "I didn't know that. But I do know that it is the oldest continuously operated high school west of the Alleghenies." Mizzou, you may not know this, but I think it was mentioned just a little early. Mizzou's new running back, number 97, Josh Augusta, is a Peoria High graduate. Josh and I played the same position at Peoria High. Josh was 6'4", I was 6'2". Josh weighed 399 pounds, and I weighed 199 pounds. Now, I have 1 more year of eligibility left here at the university. But I want to make an official announcement today that I'm not going to utilize that until after Josh graduates. 1951 at Peoria High was my first year as a freshman. Peoria High had only won 1 game in the previous 2 years. 1951, at the beginning of practice, we called it Hell Week. Our first year coach, Tony Juska, pulled us all together. Now I want you, at the end of the practice field was a World War II barracks. It had metal siding on it, metal roof, and I want to invite you all now to join me inside that building. Coach Juska told us that we would return Peoria High to a winning program, but we would have to work harder than we ever thought before. Coach Juska wore around his neck a whistle with an athletic shoelace. And I can still hear that whistle. He told us we would win a few games our freshman year, we'd win a few more sophomore and junior year, and when we were seniors, we would go undefeated. We believed him. We embraced that concept. And he called it just the way it was. First season 6-4, then 7-3, 9-1, and then 10 wins, no losses, 1 tie. We scored a total of 287 points. There were 7 shutouts. We allowed 4 teams to each score 6 points. We gave up a total of 25 points. 1954, Peoria High School was the first undefeated team in its long history. He taught us hard work, discipline, dedication, commitment, perseverance, and we accomplished that. Now, the reason I mention all this to you is because of the makeup of the team. And this was unique. We're talking 60 years ago. Very, very unique team. We had every race, every nationality you could believe. We had African American, Caucasian, Asian, Hispanic. On the religious side, we had, I think, every congregation, synagogue, Catholic cathedral had representation on our team. We enjoyed diversity back then. The same kind of a diversity that we enjoy on this campus today. But we embraced that diversity. We were absolutely colorblind. We were on a mission. We were going to have an undefeated season. And we embraced the meaning of team. Together, everyone achieves more. Our senior year, my teammate's father, George Boucher, said, "Boys, get in the car, we're going to go to Mizzou." I had no idea where we were going. We met with Coach Dan Devine, with Clay Cooper, and John Catlett. We drove home. 2 weeks later, we received letters, both of us, from SW Canada, Secretary of the Committee for AIDS and Awards, offering us athletic scholarships to the University of Missouri. I never did make the second trip to Wisconsin, and it was the best decision that I ever made. Our 59 team was the team that played for 4 different head coaches. We had our freshman coaches that we had Don Froese last year, and then we had Frank Royals and Dan Devine. Finally, in 1957, Nora Stevenson and Mel West joined us as our teammates, the first African-American players to have athletic scholarships at the University of Missouri. When I was a freshman, we had one African-American basketball player by the name of Al Abrams. Norris and West were a great addition, and were great friends and great teammates. Now join me on bench number 2. On November 15th, 1958, the Mizzou Tigers took a trip to Norman, Oklahoma. It's a very, very hot day in the Snake Pit. Let me tell you a little bit about the field. Every football field has a camera. From one sideline to the center of the field, it rises up and then it rises over to the sideline. The Snake Pit really had a camera. If the ball was spotted in the middle of the field and you ran right or left, it didn't matter, you were running downhill. That's why I figured out why Oklahoma's ball was always spotted in the middle of the field. We got the hash mark, so we had a short side of the field. If we ran left, we had to run uphill before we could run downhill. The lime. They used real lime on the stripes back then, 2 inches high. The Oklahoma players, they figured out the good competitive advantage was a handful of lime, and as the ball was snapped, it went up in the air. You ever taste lime? You ever have lime in your eyes? In the third quarter, Owen Werstell was the starting left tackle, was injured, and I was called to go in and take his place. Oklahoma really scouted the opponents. I remember as I got down on my stance on the first play and I looked across the line at my opponent, and he said, "Good afternoon, Mr. Hessing. Welcome to Norman, Oklahoma. Have a good day." It was not a good day. Let me tell you how bad the day was. Late in the game, one of the few times we had the ball, and we're in the huddle. Bobby Haas is the quarterback because Phil Snowden had been injured. And Bobby is the quarterback, and it seems like some of our linemen were throwing lookout blocks. That's where you miss your assignment, and you turn your head to the backfield and say, "Look out!" And so he was screaming at the linebacker, at the line, saying, "Line, you've got to protect the backs. You've got to protect the backs." And there was an open space in the huddle, and the sun is shining through that open space. And he says again, "Line, you have to protect the backs." We had a player that had a nickname, we called him Lunch Meat. We called him Lunch for short. Just as we're ready to break the huddle, Lunch Meat comes into the huddle. His chin strap is undone, blood dripping off of his chin, his front teeth are missing. He's in deplorable condition. And just as he steps in and he hears Bobby Haas say, "Are you okay, Lunch?" And Lunch said, "The hell with the backs. It's every man for himself." Final score, Missouri 0, Oklahoma 39. Now, I want you again to join me on this second bench as we come into a very cramped Oklahoma Sooner guest locker room. When you walked into the room, it was silent. Everybody took a seat. If you had your helmet on, you left it on. If you had your helmet off, you cradled it in your lap. And we sat there. Against the far wall was Dan Devine. And Dan Devine had his clipboard cradled in front of him. And he was staring at the floor. I remember I was sitting next to Charlie Rex from Shelby, and on my other side was Don Chapman. And we sat there in silence. That was about 10 seconds. We sat there for 45 minutes. Not a word was spoken. You could hear your uniform drying. The perspiration, the drops running down your back had ended. And at that point, Dan Devine jumped up on a low training table and he said, I quote, "I promise you seniors that these sophomores will return to Norman, Oklahoma in 2 years. We will beat Oklahoma and we will dedicate the game to you. Now get dressed." During the next 2 years, Dan Devine taught us how to win on the playing field, but most importantly, he taught us how to win in life. And when I think about his teachings, I think about the word success. The first letter is to begin every day with a smile. Set the tone for yourself and for all of those around you. The U is for understanding. Understanding results from being a good listener. He told us to listen to the coaches, listen to our teammates, and listen to our family and friends. The first C is for caring. He taught us how to care about each other. He taught us to care about our teammates, care about our family, and he taught us to care about the University of Missouri. The C was for courage. He taught us to have the courage to do new things, to take a calculated risk and accept the consequences, just like he took the courage to make a bold prediction. I think about that today, about the courage, and I think about the courage of the Alumni Association, the courage to develop a heritage walk, the courage to do Tiger Plaza, the courage to change a name from Maryland to Tiger Avenue, courage to do new things. And the association should be commended on that. The E was for excellence. He taught us to approach everything we did with an attitude of excellence, and that if we combine that with enthusiasm, you would find that both of those are contagious. And then he taught us to be about a self-starter. Be a self-starter. He was looking for players who were more interested in scoring touchdowns than running a bunch of fancy plays. He taught us a self-starter is one who focuses on doing the right thing as opposed to sitting and thinking how to do things right. And then the last letter, it was the same as the first. He taught us to smile at the end of the day, knowing that you'd given your best for the project at hand. Now, 2 years later, it's 1960. Dan Devine takes the Missouri Tigers, the unbeaten Tigers, to Norman, Oklahoma once again. Before 56,500 fans, on the fourth play of the game, Sooner Mike McClellan runs 60 yards for a touchdown. here we go again. Not today. By halftime, the score was Missouri 24, Oklahoma 12. On the first play of the fourth quarter, Norris Stevenson came into the game. He took a pinch out, and Norris ran 60 yards for a back-breaking touchdown. The fourth quarter, Missouri added a field goal and another touchdown, and the final score, Mizzou 41, Oklahoma 19. Dan Devine made good on his promise. Next day in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, the headlines were, "The meek inherited the earth today." Mild-mannered Norris Stevenson, son of a preacher, ran 77 and 60 yards as unbeaten Missouri beat Oklahoma for the first time in 24 years. The AP and the UP immediately put Mizzou the top ranking nationally in the country. Now I'm going to ask you to come and sit with me on bench number 3. As you walk our beautiful campus, you see benches strategically located all over the campus. Nell Laffrey, I had the honor and privilege to serve with her on the Board of Trustees of the Jefferson Club. And Nell has a bench. Tom and Nell are significant benefactors of the School of Engineering. And Nell's bench, if you sit on it, I was there for the dedication, but if you sit on that bench, you can look at the columns, you can see the Chancellor's residence, you can see Thomas Jefferson with pen in hand. Ike Skelton has a bench too. It's located right over here on Carnahan Quad. It's right up against his wife, Susan Anding's garden. The marker on her garden simply says, "A remarkable lady." Susan Anding, in school we called her Gubby. Gubby was Shirley's pledge mother. Ike was in his first year of law school when I was a freshman pledge at Sigma Chi fraternity. And one of my duties each morning was to help Ike button his shirt, tie his tie, because of his withered arm. We had many discussions. We talked about everything. It was a very enjoyable time. We even talked about politics. It was on a subject that we didn't quite agree on, but he was my Sigma Chi brother. I invite each of you to seek out a bench on this campus. I want you to sit on that bench, and I want you to reflect on your thoughts and gratitude for what this university has meant to each of you. Let me share with you some of my thoughts. I like to sit on Ike's bench. I think he and I still have some conversations. First thought I have, and I'll be eternally grateful for a blind date with Shirley Turner from Louisiana, Missouri. That was 60-some years ago. Last month we celebrated 56 years. I look up at the Jesse Hall Dome. Majestic dome. In the evening it's lit up and it casts its bright light throughout the entire campus. In fact, you can see it from miles away. It's a beacon for students, future students, and alumni. I am thankful for Donald Reynolds. I can still see Donald Reynolds with his foot on the shovel, and he's being steadied by Ed Travis, our alumni president at that time, as Mr. Reynolds turns the first shovel of earth for the construction of this facility that we've enjoyed so many years and that we're enjoying right this minute. I think about Tiger Walk. Started in 1996. We're welcoming students year after year to become a part of the Mizzou family. And then I think of John Anderson unveiling the Tiger in Tiger Plaza when the dedication was. And as he pulled off the wrapping, I was ecstatic because of the blue and red Jayhawk feathers clamped tightly in our tiger's jaw. My degree. I'm grateful for the degree I had and for how it served me throughout my entire career. I was in Washington, D.C. a number of years ago, and I had some extra time, and I told the cab driver, take me to the Vietnam Memorial, and he did. And I got out of the cab, and I went over to the entrance, and I went to the directory. And I went down the list, and I found the location 6E81. And then I began walking down along those marble walls until I came to 6E81. I took out my piece of paper like many people do, and I held that piece of paper and I took my pencil and went back and forth. I did it twice. Joseph W. Parent, Captain. Joe was a fraternity brother. Joe was a matter of weeks away from coming home. He was a Special Forces Green Beret. And while he was administering aid to his sergeant, he took a bullet. And 2 months later, Joe died. A year and a half ago, Joe was inducted into the University of Missouri ROTC Hall of Fame. Joe was an inspiration to all of us and a friend. I am thankful for all the friends and all the alumni, and I'm thankful for my Mizzou family. As I stand in Tiger Plaza and I look to the waterfall, proud art thou in classic beauty of thy noble past, with thy watchword's honor duty, thy high fame shall last. All of these thoughts that I have, and I know that each of you have your own thoughts about this great university. All of those thoughts that you have and that I have are the result of why we have that spirit so deep within us. Old Missouri, here's to you. I want to encourage each of you at some point in time to spend some time on a bench and reflect upon your experiences here at the university. And I want you to reach out to other alumni and ask them to come home. I want to ask you to reach out to those that last year decided to take a leave of absence. Invite them to come back to this campus and spend some time on a bench. Now, let's all get off of the bench and let's get back into the game. And let's make this year the best Mizzou alumni ever. M-I-Z. Z-O-U. Thank you.
So we've got an assignment. We all know we need to go on a bench and practice, right? I know one thing I can say on behalf of everybody. We're grateful that you're a Mizzou Tiger. You're a class guy and a treasure. And thank you for doing it. Thank you. Well, you're not going to be able to top that.